Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another STAMPtember exclusive. This is Newton's Nook for STAMPtember 2022 at Simon Says Stamp called Warm and Cozy Wishes. And as this is the final collaboration for STAMPtember 2022, I sort of went all out in my very Nichol way. I was extra. And I knew from the moment I saw this set that I wanted to create like a whole scene card, which, as many of you know, I absolutely love creating scene cards. I often tell myself stories in my head to myself. Sometimes I share them with you while I'm creating. And my story here was these pets are camping out in front of the window. Santa is flying, outside, and they are sound asleep on the sofa, of course, and they are, cuddled up, sleeping, dreaming of what Santa's going to bring. So my whole goal for my card today was to build an amazing background, and I just stamped the soft plaid background from Simon Says Stamp using the Fawn, flannel, Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively Saturated Ink on fog cardstock. That is kind of, let's imagine, as a wallpaper background, okay? And then I have these curtains. This is from the Lawn Fawn window set. This has been out for a while. You may have this, or you may have one similar. I know Honeybee Stamps had a much bigger one, I think, actually. But there are lots of window dies out there. And I wanted to customize the curtains. Well, this micro gingham from Ink Blot Shop is my all-time favorite. Yes, it's super stained. It does not really come looking like this. I used some sort of ink at some point because I've used it so many times, and I don't know what happened. I stained my stamp. Still stamps perfectly fine. It just looks super ugly, kind of like my waffle flower stencil mats. It might be me, you guys. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted that micro gingham check. I actually did look through my pattern paper prior to starting this project thinking, let's use pattern paper. Let's make it easy on ourselves. And ultimately, I decided not to. I went the extra route instead of the easy route. I like that micro gingham because it's teeny tiny. It's so amazing for adding detail to anything. It's been months ago, but I did a live where I used Hero Arts products, I believe, maybe, and some Lawn Fawn products if I'm not mistaken. But I made a tablecloth for this basket of cherries, and I also used the gingham check for that. So anyway, it's one of my favorite backgrounds. I love the soft plaid. I love the micro gingham. So those are two of the three kind of background elements we're using today. Then I stamped my images from the Warm and Cozy Wishes. And I know I've got lots of Newton's Nooks fans here. They always have cute kitties. They always have cute dogs. They are very, very well known for this. Of course, Newton the cat is kind of their ambassador, maybe, if you will, kind of like Simon is for Simon Says Stamp. And so it's really an adorable stamp set. If you have other Newton's Nook products, you can definitely mix and match. And I know I'm making this a Christmas card, but you can see these products right here. Nothing about the sofa, the cat, the dog, the pillows, or the throw blanket say Christmas. If you want to make this an everyday card, you can make this an everyday card. If you want to turn this into a Thanksgiving card, maybe the pets are napping after too much turkey, you could totally do that. You could turn this into a summer scene, a spring scene, a birthday scene, put party hats on them. They're sleeping after their big party. I don't know. This is a very versatile set. I obviously kind of went Christmas because for whatever reason, I'm starting to feel like I'm in full Christmas mode, even though I'm trying really hard not to be. But I just had this, like I said, I envisioned this story of Santa flying in his sleigh. And I knew I had some images in my collection that I could use. If you have, I'm using Lawn Fawn because it's tiny, but if you have Tim's STAMPtember set from last year, or there's two different Lawn Fawn sets that they've released over the years. I'm using the newer of the two that have Santa in its sleigh. There's probably others out there. It's a silhouetted image. And of course, I'm going to use the moon mask. I will say I probably didn't need to. It doesn't show up that great in my card. But again, extra. I'm raising my hand. I know you can't see me, but that's me being extra. We are going to have our sofa, our critters, our throw pillows, all of that sitting in front of this big picture window. So that's kind of it is the focal point. But the window from Lawn Fawn kind of just ties into the whole thing. And we're going to decorate it up with garland, a wreath, and then Trinity stamps. I've used them. What card did I do that on? Pretty Pink Posh. I used like the little Santa hats and things, the little clay shapes and the peppermints. We're going to go that route and kind of round it out, which I'll talk to you about as we get to the embellishing portion of this. All of the colors of markers I'm using are listed down in the description below the video here on YouTube. They are also listed underneath the photos on my blog post. You can find my blog post that coordinates with this project in the description as well. Now I went pretty, I want to say traditional Christmas. I didn't really pull in green. Our greenery is going to come in with our actual greenery, our garland and our wreath. So I went with a very basic gray couch. I felt like that would make my accents pop. And just to be completely honest, this is my own personal decorating style. My furniture is all in some sort of shade of gray. And then I can very easily swap out my pillows. So it was probably it was unintentional on my part, but as I look back at this now, you know, after some time has passed and I'm voicing over this video, I realize that I probably pull in my own personal style a little bit into this. And I love switching out pillows and throws seasonally. So we've got a very basic couch. Our pets, of course, are going to be nice and neutral. And then I did like a black and red check throw blanket and black and red or black and gray pillows. And I love that there's all these different accents. Before you guys ask, I did use the Brothers Scan and Cut. Just a couple more videos really this month that will feature that predominantly. There are other times, obviously, that I do use the Brothers Scan and Cut. I do try to tell you guys when I use it so you are aware in case my die cutting doesn't look exactly like a coordinating die. There is a stamp die combo available for this set. There's also just the stamp set. And it is limited edition exclusive. If you want to pick this up, I highly suggest picking it up right away. As Newton's Nook is one of the more popular sets every year for STAMPtember. It really is. And like I said, I just feel like this is one that is going to tie back to other Newton's Nook products that you have, or as you can see, I mixed and matched with other companies' products, which is my personal preference. If I don't have like any rules or parameters, I always gravitate towards kind of pulling from different companies. So here we've got Simon Says Stamp background stamps. We have lots of Lawn Fawn dies. We do have a Lawn Fawn image for that Santa sleigh and the reindeer in the background. We have Tim Holtz moon masks. We have Tim Holtz distress inks. And then, of course, we have our Newton's Nook and then some Trinity Stamps embellishments. I got a little of everything going on here today, I feel like. So there is our sweet little puppy. I am going to go back in with my darkest marker and add a little detail. And I think this is such a small thing, but something that's going to make a world of difference, which you'll see here, I believe, in a little bit. The nose kind of blends into the rest of the dog. I did color it dark. But my favorite thing to do for critters like this that have like a very prominent nose is to add glossy accents or crystal lacquer to that. And I will be adding some crystal lacquer to the dog's nose, and it makes it so glossy and shiny, and it really makes it stand out super sweet. I did color the kitty to look like my oldest son's cat, the one that likes me. He has two. The orange tabby loves me. The black one does not, but the black one completely loves him. It's so crazy. Pets are so funny. And I say that because I sometimes have to cat sit them, and we always laugh about it. Now, to kind of make everything, okay, let me start over. To make everything coordinate, I am going to color in my wreath. I die cut it from white, and I'm going to color it in with markers. I could have probably die cut this from a light green and just shaded it. It really depends on what you want to do. For example, the curtains. The curtains I die cut from red cardstock and shaded. The bows for the wreath and the garland, I die cut from cherry red cardstock, and I shaded with a dark marker before assembling. But I think I didn't really have the color of green cardstock I wanted, perhaps, and so I just did that. And I did not get too hung up on super shading. One thing that I did add just a touch of embellishment, or not embellishment, but shading to, the window frame. The window frame is die cut from white cardstock, but being so super harsh bright white, I didn't feel like it blended in to my scene very well. So I did add just a touch of gray marker, and then this is the colorless blender. It almost just gives it shadowing to that window frame, I think. Like, it's really harsh and dark right here, but by the time you go in with your colorless blender and really saturate the cardstock and move that color around, it looks great. So we're going to do that for the window frame, and then I'm going to kind of grab the different components for my card and see what is still needed, see what we still need to either stamp or die cut or color, and then we can kind of start putting it all together. And we also need to die cut all of our images from the Warm and Cozy Wishes stamp set. So I would love to know in the chat, do you have Newton's Nook stamps in your collection? So my first idea for the flooring for my room, which I did leave in here, it appears, is this like ink blended strip of cardstock. And I don't love it at all. It's not enough contrast. It blends it. It would probably be fine. That's me being picky, but I just don't love it. So I'm taking what I have so far. You can see Santa in his sleigh laying there. You can see the moon masks peeking out. I just trimmed down a piece of white cardstock to fit behind my window frame, but I want to lay out my components. I want to see what's working and what's not working so that I know what do I need to fix, what do I need to add. Originally, I just planned on adding the mini wreath to the window, but it's about right here. You can really see the top portion of the card is a little light. I think the ground around the sofa also going to be kind of light. So this is a really good opportunity to go look at your stash, see what else you need. So let's go ahead and create our nighttime winter scene back behind the window. I, again, just trimmed down some white cardstock to fit behind there. I'm taking tumbled glass, prize ribbon, and black soot distress oxide inks with the Tim Holtz moon mask. I know you guys have seen it tons and tons over the last few weeks, but I truly do love this product. It's great for Christmas. It's great for Halloween. It's great for a cute little nighttime scene card with some Colorado Craft Company mice. I mean, I have used it so many times, or this set. You get 3 different sizes in this stencil set. It is my absolute favorite. If you're here during the premiere of this video, we've talked about it many, many times. If you're watching this later on, I know you've probably seen the moon masks in action, but I just think they're a fabulous product and really easy to use. So I am inking this entire panel because I do want it to, even though not a lot of this is going to be seen, because let's face it, it's going to go back behind the window frame, and then we're framing up the window with curtains. So that's going to take a little bit, and then we're going to hang a wreath on the window. All of these things are going to not cover up, but they're not going to, this isn't the focal point of the card. That's what I want to say. But it is a fantastic supporting cast, and it does provide some amazing interest when you're looking at the scene card, where it really finishes off the entire scene. It's not just, oh, look, it's outside and there's nothing cute going on or anything like that. So I want it to be like this snowy outdoor scene. So I did my moon, and then I'm going to put the mask back in place. I'm going to grab my splatter box, and we are going to splatter this with some white gouache. But before I do that, I do want to stamp my Santa image, because I want to make sure that I don't splatter Santa. So I put it in my Misty. I'm going to stamp this with VersaFine Onyx Black ink, which is going to give us a really nice bold black silhouetted image against the moon. I mean, this right here is cute. And then we're going to put it in our stencil box, place the mask over it, and just splatter with white gouache. And I always just put a little white gouache in my splatter box. This is a plastic. I think the brand is Sterilite from Walmart, or you can get it other places as well. I'm going to add a little bit of water so it spreads a little easier, and it looks like my paintbrush wasn't super clean, but no worries, it's still going to be pretty white. And I'm going to splatter all over this panel. So it looks like a snowy nighttime scene. We can remove our mask, and then I'm going to let that air dry. And there's what it looks like. On a separate scrap of white cardstock, this is the third piece of the background stamps. This is a border from the On the Ground stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. It is a go-to for me as far as basics. It's got some really awesome borders in it, and I love this one. So it's going to kind of give what I'm imagining a wood floor look to be. I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively Saturated ink. I'm going to stamp that on my white cardstock, and then we're going to just trim this down to about 3/4 of an inch wide. And I cut it much wider to begin with, and I'm not going to trim off that white part up at the top, because I'm actually going to do like a little baseboard, and I think it will serve as a baseboard there. And I need to see if I'm leaving too much of the border, because that's basically keeping the entire border. Well, it is. So I am going to trim it down to 3/4 of an inch. So I'm not saving a ton of it, but it's just enough that it really rounds out our scene card. Let's go ahead and attach our flooring to our wall. And I did try to center it as much as possible. There's overhang, we'll trim that off. And I did forget to mention to you guys, the background with the soft plaid stamping is 4 by 5 1/4, meaning we're going to be left with a nice white border all the way around our design. Then we're going to take a white, really thin cardstock strip. I didn't even measure it. I'm going to put some 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive. This is the red tape from Simon Says Stamp. And I am going to use this as my baseboard, a nice little separator between the wall and the floor, and it ties in nicely with the window frame. We still have plenty of room for our window frame. I am going to put some adhesive on the back of the window frame and then place it over my background. And I do want to tell you guys I completely messed up. Where I placed my window frame, I should have done it differently, I guess is what I'm telling you. I put it too high and Santa is not really visible, or it gets cut, a lot of it gets cut off. I mean, it's kind of just a peek at him anyway, but it's way too high in the frame. And so I tried to pull it off and the adhesive did not want to pull off and it ended up tearing a part of my background. I did not redo my background. We are going to disguise the fact that I made that little boo-boo. So if that ever happens to you, just know that often there are ways to fix it. So I ended up pulling this off. I do end up trimming down a little bit the bottom of this panel to make it work, but I should not have adhered it this way because when I flip it over, look, I instantly see my mistake. All right, so we're gonna move that down a little bit. There it is moved down. You can see the little tear, but it's gonna be fine because see, the curtain's gonna cover it. I am going to take the curtain rod and I'm going to attach it to the top here of the kind of crown molding of our window frame. And then I want to attach the curtains. And I'm going to attach the curtains with foam adhesive for dimension. And that's going to hide my little mistake. Oh, I'm loving this window. We're going to attach the other one. One of the great things about this particular window frame, there are tie backs. I will be adding those at the end of the video. We're going to glue the wreath down. Probably if I had not added the wreath, the moon would be a tiny bit more visible, but I like the wreath, so I'm okay with it. We're going to attach the window frame right to our scene. Oh my gosh, and the couch is going to go right in front of that window. I'm only going to put foam adhesive down along the bottom and then kind of right in the center so it lays nice. And then we can attach that to our card. I did pop it off. I needed to fix something. Then we're going to glue our pillows in place. We're going to glue our throw right there to the couch. I mean, how cute is that? And I did glue the dog down, and just full disclosure, I ended up pulling him off as well. First of all, I did not get him straight. What was going on there? And then I had a fun idea near the end of the video, and I'll show you how I fixed that. I am going to assemble my bow and glue it to the wreath. I did pick the sentiment Warm and Cozy Wishes from the stamp set, and I struggled with figuring out where to put it, and I do like what I came up with. But sometimes it can be a little bit of a struggle if you have a full scene to figure out where your greeting is going to go. The cat is going to be laying up on the back of the couch because every cat I've ever had has done that. And let's see what we need next. I am going to stamp Warm and Cozy Wishes on the white cardstock with black ink. We will die cut this then with a stitched circle die. I'm just going to grab a Lawn Fawn die, but any circle die here will do because we're just going to pop it in place kind of along the left side of the card. I picked the left over the right because just the way the design is, the cat is kind of over more on the right side, so I felt like it offset it better. There's the crystal lacquer for the dog's nose. This is the wreath garland, or garland. Maybe it's just called garland from Lawn Fawn. We're going to color it exactly the same to match the wreath, but I felt like this is really going to finish off the top of the card. It adds a little pop of something, and I like how it looks. There is an extra curtain piece if you wanted like the scallop valance or whatever that goes along the top of the curtain. I opted not to. I like the garland better. And I'm just using a scrap of cardstock to protect it. Then I just need to figure out what direction that goes. And then I have a foam adhesive dot right there in the center. And I'm going to put a little liquid glue over the sides because the curtain is popped up. And that's going to lay nice. Now the foam adhesive square is still visible, but we're going to hide it with the bow that goes on the garland. Here are the tie backs die cut from a slate gray cardstock. And that finishes off the curtains really nicely, and it coordinates beautifully with our throw pillows. and our throw blanket. We're going to add the little ribbon tails, and then we're going to assemble the bow. And I'm just using my marker to add some nice shading to that. Then you wrap the bow center around and secure it in place. And I always like tweezers for this because you can clamp them on and hold that down. On a white top fold card base, I will adhere the entire panel. And then I've got all of these Trinity stamps, fun little peppermints, candy canes, Santa hats that we're going to use to finish embellishing. And I love how they're scattered around on the floor. And then I like how it looks like the dog is sleeping with this candy cane underneath his paws. That's why I ended up popping him up, because the candy canes do have some dimension. They're kind of rounded. They're not flat. And so it makes him lay nicer. And I did put a Santa hat on both him and the kitty. We're going to pop our sentiment in place right there on the left side. We'll trim off anything hanging off the edge. Then I'll give you a close-up look at the finished card. And there we go. Soft plaid background, micro gingham, and also that great little on the ground flooring. All just tie everything together to make this a super fun holiday themed scene card. And here are all of those, kind of a real-time version or look at the embellishments. I really like these for the holidays this year. And I think you'll see them quite a bit because they're really, really fun. Thank you so much for joining me today for the STAMPtember 2022 Newton's Nook limited edition exclusive called Warm and Cozy Wishes. The supplies used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Simon Says Stamp limited edition exclusives that you might be interested in. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. We would love to see you over there as part of our community, and we have some super fun things happening in October. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.